everybody coming and welcome them to the Wilton Selectboard meeting for April 6th. And Tiffany, if you would start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tiffany. So first item on the agenda would be the minutes of the Select Board meeting for March 16th.
Move we accept the minutes.
Second.
So motion from Tom, second from Phil. Any discussion? Not seeing any. Tiffany, how do you vote?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, it's unanimous. Moving on to number 2, consideration of planning board request for a special town meeting for moratorium consideration of commercial activity in a limited residential and recreational zone.
I move that we table this pending legal counsel opinion.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion to table this until after we've talked with legal counsel. Any discussion on that from members?
Can't discuss
Can't
the table.
discuss the
measure.
table.
Okay, all right. Tiffany, how do you vote?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so we have tabled it till after we talk with council. So then we will move on to the Water Department Water Transmission Project bid results. Hines?
I think Rhonda was gonna
Yeah,
start off with that.
I'll start off with it and then we'll, any questions you want to ask Hines, we'll go to Hines. As I had sent out to you previously, we did an RFP for the water transmission line project that this section of the project is going to go from Barnum Pond down to actually to Welch Street here in Wilton. Hines did get 4 companies that came to his open session. Then those 4 companies submitted bids for the project. What you see right here that I'm sharing is just the very first section of the bid. We asked him to do like a preliminary engineering, and then we also asked for other figures for the rest of the project. We do have those figures that we'll be able to share, but what we are looking for is the next steps. We're ready to move on to that. Hines has looked at all of the proposals, and what we want to know is, do we want to have a committee that we've done in the past whenever we have large projects of this type, interview the top 2 that he'll bring to you as a recommendation? Do you want to just have Hines and I do the interviewing and determine somebody? Which way would you like it? It is going to be a multi-year project. It will entail applying for combination grants and loans through such things as rural development and possibly wherever there's other money available, as we did with the sewer project. So it is a larger project.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, the discrepancy in bids is quite large. Is there a reason for that?
But if you want to see what,
Hines,
this is this butler and that's the girl.
The discrepancy in the bids is, yeah, it is pretty large. You know, different firms go about things in different ways. That's why we wanted just the first bit right here, the engineering part put down, just so we can get an idea. And then the farther you read into them, the discrepancies are there also. You know, some of them will be more than the others.
Keith, may I?
Tom?
So what are the 2 that you recommend that we interview?
The 2 right there on the top, Haley Ward and Durago Engineering. Those are both local. Local being Fairfield and the coast, and they both have done projects of this type in the past. So that's something that I didn't wanna reach out to somebody and have somebody do it who's never done something of this scope, because it's gonna be probably a couple years just of engineering.
That's good. They don't dig up my front lawn for a while.
We have a pretty good idea on how not to do that.
Oh, good. So can we have a couple of volunteers to work with Rhonda and Hines? Okay, I see Tom has his hand up.
I volunteer.
Thank you, Tiffany. Phil, David, do we leave it just at Tom? What are we doing?
I don't mind.
What was that?
I said I will.
Okay. So there you go, Rhonda.
Very good. We will get that going soon.
All right.
Are there 3 or are there 2?
What's that?
Are there 3 members or 2?
2.
members?
2.
2 members, and it's David and
Tiffany.
Tiff? Got it. Thank you.
So we're
Thank you,
ready to
you
move
guys.
on.
We're all set to move on.
Okay, we're gonna move down to the highway department.
Thank you.
Consideration of sending out requests for bids. John?
Yeah, hi. I'd like to be able to put bids out for the paving this year, or one of the bids for road work, which we normally do every year. And also for our sidewalks. The sidewalks themselves, we always use Derigo, well, in the past we used Derigo slip form. And for the granite part, and they do a very excellent job, always timely and costly effective.
Okay.
I'd like to put the paving part of the sidewalk out for the, on the sidewalk itself. And also, like I said, for the road paving, we do it annual year, we put out the bid. And the last night the bid is a tandem axle truck for the highway department, replace the 09 Sterling we have.
Okay. Board members, what would you like to do? I'm not seeing any response.
Is that good or bad?
Tom's trying, he's muted.
So the request is to consider sending out requests for bids.
I make motion, we send out requests for bids if we have to have a motion.
Thank you, Tom. Can I get a second?
Second, you got it.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Tiffany, how do you vote?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes,
I'll vote yes, it is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
thanks, John.
Welcome.
As I'm walking through, I don't know what, his office, I don't know. Sonny, are you ready yet? Okay, he's not ready yet. We will continue on with the Wilson Lake retaining wall. Consideration of plans. Rhonda?
As soon as you talk, they can hear you.
Sonny, are you ready?
Go ahead, Rhonda. We'll get back to him.
We'll get back to him. We'll have to mute him.
Hello?
Stand by, Sonny.
Okay, I have put up on the screen concept plan A and concept plan B, and in a second, I'll direct you to concept plan C. You have reviewed these 2 plans right here a number of times for the foot of the lake. We've received comments. I've got that up on Facebook. As a reminder to you, concept plan A is looking at the diagonal parking, not diagonal, the
It is diagonal.
it is
Diagonal.
diagonal, thank you. The others parallel parking. The diagonal parking with the crosswalk, the walkway along the front, which will require railings along the front, and then a walkway through the parkway so that people don't need to walk down the road, and having an area here up at the pump station. None of these plans get into our boat launch area, which that we'll have to either look at that separately with them or look at a separate grant through the state of Maine. Plan B is, as a reminder, again, basically the same thing, but it does have parallel parking. That's really the only difference. which a couple of things with the parallel parking, it does give you more grass space here in the front. The walkway is pulled back from the water, so it won't require the railing. Everything else is the same. For both of these, actually all three of these, the number one main thing for this whole project is to replace out the old stone wall, because of the fact that the water's been going up behind it and we're creating lots of holes. And it's not safe over there. And it appears that everybody has been in agreement, in the riprap project part of it has not been the main issue. The main issue with people has been what the parking could potentially look like. I'll take you real quick to concept C, which is this one right here. Same thing with some parallel parking along the front, but then they added a few spaces, it looks like 6 for the perpendicular parking, to try to get a combination of both. So that's trying to do a compromise plan. I'll go back to A and everything else the same, your riprap project and so forth. I'll go back to A and B. The engineering consultants did send you out a letter with their reasons as to why they feel that this plan B would be better. People on Facebook, though, everywhere, there were no suggestions. Everybody wanted it to be the parking similar to what we have right now. Keep parking the same and so forth as we go down through it. No parallel parking, no parallel parking. I think the parallel parking takes away, please no parallel parking. And then I think the angle parking works better, etc. So we're really not going to have time this year to work on, we've got a lot more work left to do before we get to the part of applying for a grant, as I had really, really, truly hoped we would. We do need to go back to our engineers and come up with some costs on whichever plan you choose. So I'm in hopes that tonight you'll be able to choose a concept plan, one or the other, so that we can start to get our costs in place and everything else that needs to be in place before it could be moved on to the next step. At this point, we have no idea if it will cost us $200,000 or if it'll cost us $1 million here. So we do need to move forward for that way. Any other questions?
Tom?
No question. I move concept plan B.
Do I have a second to that motion?
This is B right here, parallel parking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant, thank you. Yeah, I mean, concept plan A.
Okay,
Jeez.
I'll second that.
Sorry about that, guys. I just see if you're all awake.
This is
So-
it.
your motion is for concept A
Yes, sir.
and the second is for concept A.
Correct.
Okay, any discussion on that? David?
I personally liked C because it's a compromise. You get better green space without rails, but you do leave some angle parking. So I guess I'd vote against Tom's motion. Trying to reach compromise, Tom.
You're good, man.
Tiffany?
I personally like concept B better. That structurally, it probably is better financially for the amount of years that it'll be many years, I hope, before the town has to undertake this type of project. I do like C, though. I also remember when the engineers first presented the project with C, is they also warned us against the parking, angled parking going into a street. And so with C, you still have where they warned us about how it really wasn't great. And I don't like where you have to cross the sidewalk to then get to the other side of the boat ramp. So personally, I like B, but that's my personal, and I'm not here to voice my personal opinion. I'm here to represent the town. So I hear that the folks of the town really want the concept B. And so
Concept A.
I'm sorry, thank you, Tom. Concept A over B. So, I'm inclined to go with concept A because that's really what I've heard from the majority of townsfolk. And also what we have right now is going to be an improvement to the water quality of the lake and addressing some of the issues there. So I'm in favor of going with A.
Tom?
Yeah, David, I hear you completely, but I guess what I go by is what people have said. So I'm going to A, and also if you go down to B, you could go down to that one, Rhonda. There's more grass to mow, so there's more work for Frank to do. And in B and C, there's more grass to mow.
All right, any more discussion? Not seeing any. Tiffany, how do you vote?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
David?
No,
Tom?
Yes,
And I will vote yes, so it passes 4-1. So if Sonny is available. I'm pretty sure I just woke you up, Sonny.
There he is. Unmute, Sonny.
You muted, Sonny.
How's that?
That's better.
Better?
Yep. So fire department report, Sonny, tell us.
Okay. It's been a while since I've been going over one, so I'll give you a update that I can. We have 21 active firefighters now. And they're all doing pretty well. I got one junior that's still in the firefighter program. She's doing very well. We had 77 calls since January 1st, 2021. We've also had 15 mutual aid calls since January 1st. 5 chimney fires, 11 accidents, and 11 medical calls. The call volume has been up. It's been erratic. We're having sometimes 2 and 3 a day. Then we'll wait a few days and have some more, but been very active since January. So that's the scoop on that. Trucks are in very good shape. No major problems. We're keeping them up pretty well. Just little, bulbs out and that type of thing. So they're doing good. The COVID hit us a little bit. We had 2 that got it. We got a good handle on it now. We have about, it's a little over half of our firefighters that's had both COVID shots. So that is good. The new generator that we got is working very well. We haven't lost the power to try it out, but it's working very well, very quiet, and it should do well for us. I got a question and I'm not sure if Rhonda had spoke to you in the previous about what do we do with the old one. There is a couple things that we could do. I could try to sell it outright, or we could put the bid system out. Either one of them, I would like to make sure that if we can, I would like to take a minimum of 3,000 on that. The furnace in this building gave us a lot of problems this year. I probably spent probably $1,500 to $1,800 this winter to keep it going. It's about 15 years old. In the meantime, I have checked for another furnace, which would be a boiler type instead of a wall hung one. Them wall hung ones are only good for about 10 years. And it's past its time. So I've got some prices on that. We'll run this one as long as we can. I would like to take what we got out of the generator and put into the capital improvement towards a newer furnace, which the ones that I priced is $6,000 through ABT, which will be a floor unit. And it will be all metal versus that thin metal that's hanging on the wall. So that's about all I got written down. I'm sure you've got some questions.
Tom?
Yeah, Sonny, you talked about your guys having COVID shots. I talked with Terry Bell yesterday. We were both over at the hospital working on the COVID shot, and he's got about half his crew that have got their vaccination. The other half are not going to get it. Are you running into that?
Yes. The
So some
younger personnel
Yeah.
we have are not interested.
Okay.
For one reason or another, cannot convince them what they got. They haven't got anything to lose, but they definitely will not take it.
That's pretty much what Terry's finding.
Yes.
David?
I thought we had, when we talked about the generator, that we had discussion about moving the generator to the highway department.
That didn't happen, Dave. John has talked it over with Rhonda and whatever, and they thought that with what they would have to put in to putting a building up and, getting it all set up to run, that they would have a lot more into it than other than going right out and getting one like the town office. So
Rhonda?
I'm not sure how that all worked out.
Rhonda?
I have totally forgotten to bring that up to you. So that had been my intentions, was to put that out there to you before. And John, if you could jump in also, if you're still right there. Yes. So John did have somebody come in to take a look at, our intentions were to move the generator. And stop me, John, anywhere where I'm incorrect. And actually the person came up to see me too and said, by the time you put in all the costs that it's going to take to get that generator properly hooked up and so forth, you're going to have just about as much money into this 30-year-old generator than you would have if you started out new. Am I correct, John? Is that how we had said?
Yeah, it is. The way it would never be an automatic start. You have to do the transfer switch itself was about $2,000 just for the switch itself, and it'll start the manual start it. In order to fit it at the garage, you have to put an addition on the side of the garage. It would be 12 by 5 by, I think we figured like 12, just sort of run for the fuel tank and that. And that was like $4,000 just for the material, not including our labor. So in that price, you're over $6,000 for a 30-year-old generator. You can buy a brand new one for, I'm not sure what you paid for yours, like $8,000, $9,000. So the cost, what way the cost, what we got to do for it on the lifespan of the generator might not be worth the one a used generator.
And that's what I was supposed to bring to you at one of these meetings that I had totally not remembered to bring to you.
Okay.
And so it just did not seem like the wisest use of the town's funds to do that. We will look and see if it's worthwhile for the highway department to be able to purchase one with what they have for funds this year and kind of go from there. So one of the things, again, as Sonny said, he has started looking into what you could get if we sold it out there, either, bid or an outright price, either way. And as he said, he does not want to go below $3,000 to accept for it. There are some uses we have found out there in the real world, away from the municipal government, that it would probably work very well for.
Okay. We don't have to make a decision on that tonight, though, so you can bring that back to us. Any other questions for Sonny? Not seeing any. Can I get a motion to accept his report?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on his report? Not seeing any. Tiffany, how do you vote?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, it is unanimous. Thank you, Sonny.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move on to managers report. Rhonda?
Yes, I've been approached about the possibility of the town looking into some matching grants for some of our local businesses, with the possibility of using either our tax increment financing funds or our rural development economic development funds. The rural development economic funds have been used in the past for loans at 6% that AvCog helps us to manage. We have one loan out there right now, still presently. We have a loan that that the company went through bankruptcy. We've actually had 3 loans that we've put out there that the companies all went through bankruptcy. I've got one person still trying to pay us back a little bit at a time, which is very noble of them to be doing. So there's a possibility that some of these funds may do a little bit better if you did want to look at into doing some matching grants. And I could bring you back the amounts of the funds if this is something you do want to entertain, and see what we could come up with for some objectives. If this is not something you're interested in, then we won't take a look at that.
Thoughts from the board? Tiffany, I see your hand up.
Sure, you saw me going for the mouse. Very good. I think it's something that I'm interested in pursuing. I'm always looking for, economic development and bringing businesses into our town.
Tom, your thoughts?
Okay.
David?
Yeah, I guess I'd want to see more information before I'd say one way or the other.
Okay. Phil?
Same.
Rhonda?
Where I've been asked about is for some grant funding for some infrastructure facade improvements to a couple of the businesses in the downtown area. Doesn't mean it needs to stay just in that area, but that's where I was approached from. So I can bring you back more information on that and look into it a little bit more, and you can make the determination.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Next item, tax foreclosures. Overall, the year ended pretty well. We have 3 little glitches. The 3 glitches on the tax side are 2 properties that we've sent out lien notices, we've sent out foreclosure notices by registered mail. I've sent them out a letter afterwards, letting them know that they've gone past the foreclosure time and that we're going to sell their property. 0 responses. These 2 homes people are presently living in. My next step is to go out to their homes. They seem to have no interest. So I'm just letting you know that I guess my next step is to drive to their houses and try to catch them. Very unusual. We never get this like that of people that are still living in the homes. The 3rd property is actually through the sewer department, and it is a property that is owned by a mortgage company. We've been notifying the mortgage company since, well, when it went foreclosure. We found the correct one. We've been sending emails back and forth. They say they're making it a priority, and months still go by and we haven't received anything. So I think our next step on that one is to be bringing that back to you and letting them know that since they did not respond, we'll be selling that property. There is nobody living in that particular property. So I'll do my best to get to the other 2 properties before the next meeting and see if we can kind of move that along.
Okay.
Any comments on that?
No, looks
At
good.
least with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking so. I'm thinking exactly that. The another announcement I have is that nomination papers for select board and school board are available. They need to be returned by 5 p.m. April 12th. We've been making this announcement before. We have had papers returned in both the 3-year select board term and the 3-year school board term. But there still is time in case other people want to run also.
And who were the
Who's up?
slots that were up? Hold on, Tom.
Yeah.
What were the slots that were up this year, Rhonda?
Phil. And Phil has taken out papers again, and so has Everett Greer. And school board, Diane, you need to help me here.
No,
Diane,
Gwen,
oh, wait a minute. I think Gwen took out papers and returned them. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
And somebody else has taken out papers but not returned them yet for that position.
Okay, I was just wondering who the two people were that were up this year. So Phil and who was up with the school board? Angie?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay,
And that's-
Diane says
that's all
Angie.
I have.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. And that's all I have for a report.
Okay. Any other business to come before us tonight? Tom?
just a question, Rhonda, can you, for the next meeting, put on the agenda to talk a little bit about that memorial area?
Yes, I will,
And how
Tom.
I can proceed on that, get permission to proceed on that. And then the second, are we waiting on me for the Foster site, the mill, to look at that RFP and to fix it up a little bit? I can't remember after our last conversation.
Yeah, I spoke to Ransom in the last couple of weeks, and I told them I would get started on the RFP for similar to what I had done over at the tannery, but that we are going to need their assistance in kind of making it a little bit more user-friendly on the report that they gave us, so that it doesn't give the impression that there aren't things that you can do there. As we learned when there are a lot of things you can do there, as we learned when we met with him. Is that correct, Tom?
Yeah, I believe so. So you're not waiting on me to do anything, right?
Not waiting on you.
Okay,
I'll
all right.
probably be running things by you, but I'm not waiting on you.
Okay,
I
super.
have spoken to him about getting started on that. Okay,
Okay, so any other business? Not seeing any. I wait a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Tom and Tiffany. Tiffany, how do you vote?
aye.
Phil?
I suppose.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I will vote yes, it is unanimous. Thank you all very much for coming.